Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Cahya Istikomah. I'm a student from Faculty Psikologi of UIN Jakarta, and in this video, I want to tell something about catcall. And I'm raising the term is catcall is the scum of society. For introduction, catcalling is a form of sexual harassment in public areas, usually done on the streets or other public property. According to reports, there's an influence on catcalling behavior. The offender is so superior that he has the right to do whatever he wants without consideration for the feelings of others, says the superiors. There are some types of catcalling, like the dials of insurgents, but there are the two most frequent perpetrators. The first is an anti-teasing whistle, and the second is sexual and seductive praise. The abuse can be done at close range when the victim and the perpetrator are in a narrow place like a passageway in a quiet place where the number of victims is less than on than the one behind the wheel. It's basically a form of objectification for. The emphasis indicates that the abuse is not due to the appearance or the manner in which the victim looks, but it is the culture of the abuser. He also insists that this act is inexcusable. At a certain level, the catcalling effect can inflict prolonged trauma on its victims. The victim thus restricts his mobility if left unaccompanied at home, which eventually affects the quality of life and hinders his personal development. According to grammars.com, catcall is an interesting closed compound word that has been in use since the mid 1600s. A closed compound word is composed of two words joined together without a space. Originally, the word catcall referred to whistles or jeers at a public forum or a public performance, indicating disapproval or anger, while still used to mean jeers in a public forum. The word catcall has evolved to also mean loud whistles or lewd comments made by a man and directed at a woman as she walks down the street. While some men consider this type of catcall a compliment, women generally women generally consider it threatening. Many people assume a catcall just happened to the woman, whereas the boys can also occur. Catcall is the scum of the society because many people, the most is a woman, feel so disturbed and sometimes scary to it. But sometimes many people assume if catcall is a joke and underestimate about catcall. Even though catcall can disturb someone's psyche and catcall is verbal abuse. Reporting from the University of Missouri Kansas City page, usually catcalling itself is done in a variety of ways and by a variety of groups. Catcalling can also be done while whistling when the suspect sees the body and calls out in an teasing tone, or through sexual innuendos at the other person. Know that anyone can be a victim and engage catcall. Catcalling is mostly men, but it doesn't rule out women's possibility. The response to this phenomenon is also varied. Some women and men say that catcalling as a form of abuse is aggressive, while others are very confident that catcalling can be dangerous and must be grouped as a form of abuse. For some people, the abuse is viewed as an expression of harmless interest, and yet for others, catcalling the catcalling has dire consequences. The most of catcall victim is a woman, but sad fact, I guess many people allow themselves to be the object of the catcall, whereas catcall is symbol if the people is not respect to her. According to article from Thread.com, catcalling and catcalling aren't so different after all. They are both products of a culture that treats women's bodies as, as public property, and they both have more to do with harassers, security, and desire to exert dominance over women than they do about the harassers' laws. The obnoxious catcalls I hear in public area is like, "Hey girl, give me a smile," or "Oh God, you look so much pretty," or "Hey girl, where are you working?" Or maybe "Damn, I mean damn, it's so disgusting." Maybe all of that is a bullshit, and maybe some of people consider the catcall is a compliment. But she is wrong because catcall is verbal abuse and it is the scum of the society. And we must destroy catcall every place. In some countries, they have communities and organizations that support the eradication of catcall, such as the Stop Street Harassment (SSH) and Stop Telling Women to Smile (STWTAs). But in Indonesia, catcalling is in the act of verbal sexual harassment, which is far from being a word of cruel or violent acts. But the terms politeness and decency are also not yet regulated by the KHUP. So there are no definite rules governing the limits and penalties for this action. The law given to color is still very minimal. So it makes the victim continue to grow and the public area feels insecure to many people. Factor the fact the factors is what the first it easily subdues victims. Either the perpetrator thinks that the victim is weaker, thus being placed in the subordinate position that must be mastered. Second is carnality. Uncontrolled sexual desire can be a factor in the development of sexual harassment. The perpetrator undercuts his loss by sexually abusing her. The third, being a victim in the past. Having a history of sexual abuse as a child can also be a cause. The presence of these traumas makes the perpetrator want to respond to them as an adult. The fourth, copying someone. In some perpetrators of sexual abuse, they have witnessed sexual abuse of other family members as child. The five, having the power. The perpetrator has authority over the victim. For example, the perpetrator is the victim's boss. There was a study linking sex to power, so the perpetrator felt easier to dominate. The sixth, patriarchate culture. The cases of sexual harassment are not exempt from a solvable system of society. Often, patriarchate would also promote this act of sexual harassment and would accuse victims or minors. Uh, the seventh is drug influence. Drug and alcohol abuse can influence a person to commit sexual abuse. This could lead to such an action in a trance because of the influence of drugs or alcohol. The eighth, sexual fantasy. There are somehow there are some who have sexual fantasies with violent or sexually harassing elements. For example, the thought of bonding with one's mate can bring pain. One person's preference may differ, and it can also lead to harassment or sexual violence. 9. Adult content viewing habit. The causes of sexual harassment can relate to the habit of consuming pornographic content, like always reading or watching the porn content. This stimulates sexual fantasy, and when poorly transmitted, it may lead to sexual harassment. And the last, family discord. Staying emotionally distant from the family also has the potential for ACDAs of sexual abuse. caused by less stable emotional conditions. The conclusion is of this topic, maybe we can prevent catcall happening to us, and then the law about catcaller in Indonesia is so minimal. And we must speak up if we are one of victims, and we must brace to fight it because catcall is a verbal abuse. And while they are angry about their sexual abuse, catcalling, and the right of social media use, making rules more assertive and forbidding applies to report by specifying confidentially and providing psychological service for the victims. Okay, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.